Good morning. Let's have a conversation while we create today. I'm David Austin with davidaustingallery.com, and welcome back to the show. And as always, the brilliant technician, director, and producer Kristen is behind all of that lights and paraphernalia back there. Good morning, my dear wife.
Good morning.
It's been a busy week as usual, but we want to hear about your week too today. I think it'd be fun to find out what you've been up to. Tell us about your gallery shows. Do you have any art sales right now? We're all curious about that. How's the art sales going for everybody? But today we're going to do something a little different. Not everybody can make a giant mess in their studio, or you're traveling sometimes. And I like to work with the Rembrandt pastels, or the soft pastels. And I have just a larger set here. Really, really enjoy the colors. And what we're going to do is work wet into the wet surface. So I've got my handy gray bottle. And we're going to do some of the pastels right into the wet surface. And then I'll probably work in a little bit of black gesso from Amsterdam and then random white paint. So please ask questions about the process as we go. Today, in honor of my mother, it would be her birthday this month. I'm wearing her right because I miss her. And this is actually from Archie Bray, the Archie Bray Foundation, which is out of Montana. Really, really great. These, by the way, are on our website.
Yes.
This is my travel set of the soft pastels from Rembrandt. But when I'm home, I like the bigger set like this. And they have the nice foam separation, so you don't get each one dirty, and eventually they all look gray as you're working with them if you get a little careless with storage. So, gosh, we had a really exciting weekend last weekend. We went way down to Montevideo. My wife's making an impression back there. Something happened.
Go ahead.
Okay. Live video. It's always fun. Anyway, we're in Montevideo. I was painting with Maggie Fuller, the author and painter down there. And we had a really great time. I hope you saw the show. If not, go check it out. It's on every platform. Coffee. So again, I'm going to work into this. It's going to be kind of an abstract landscape looking thing. I don't know I don't have any idea in my mind today to answer that question coming up. I don't know what I'm going to put down here.
So you're just exploring how to use these in a wet technique, right?
Yeah, today we're just playing a little bit, but I want to have a conversation with you guys. Let's hear what you've been up to. And if you can't say it in English, then someone translates, please.
Thank you for the roses, Jamie.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, we do all the same.
Yeah, right in the beginning of 2020, we lost her. March.
Yeah. Inclined. Figured out.
Yeah. So let's see. I don't know where I'm going to start with this. Maybe I'll start with just some pencil work.
And these are your Brunzel pencils that you really love.
Yeah, these are the Brunzels. We love working with Royal Talons, obviously, because we talk about them all the time. And I'm just laying out some rocks. We've had a lot of fun this week going out. Once we got back into town, we were searching for glass, right?
Yeah, beach glass with Hugo. He kept him busy for well over an hour and a half.
It was a real surprise, and we had a great time on the shoreline, just sitting there digging through the gravel. I'd show you, but we have a handful of really pretty different colored glass. It was a lot of fun. So this is moist, still wet, and I'm just working right now. This is white. It's kind of a base. This is a white pastel. Now you can go through quite a few of these if you work a lot into white into the surface. If you work dry, you might not use quite as much, but I figure the effect is so beautiful. For example, here's the turquoise kind of color, the blue-green. I mean, just check out that.
Ah, that's so luscious.
Isn't that just a beautiful thing? It's a beautiful thing.
So for those just joining us, this is a soft pastel into a wet surface.
So, and then I like to wear the gloves because I know I harp on this, but be aware of your safety when you're working with art materials. So I can just use my heel of the hand to kind of blend that in as we go and create some really neat effects. I can pull that color in like this. It becomes very painterly, and I love that effect. I'm going to do a little bit of brown down here. I'm going to do some brown and blacks and some dark blues to kind of indicate the volcanic kind of rock and granites and things that we have in our area here.
Who else is painting today? Or drawing or sketching, reading something?
Hey, Kristen, one of your hairs escaped your head again. It's over on,
Oh,
it's right here.
that's it. I'm cutting it all off. It's gone too far.
It's escaped. Anyway, some of these colors are just absolutely
Oh my
phenomenal.
gosh, why is this a happy birthday?
I don't know. I leave the music to you.
I was gonna play it again. Let's just move on, shall we?
Yes, please.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so we stopped in after we were in Montevideo on the way back because we really haven't had a chance to explore the cities. The cities being Minneapolis, St. Paul area. And we stopped in and had a really nice brunch at, I think it was Benedict's, right?
Yeah, Benedict's in Wayzata.
Wayzata.
Which is, funnily enough, one of the most mispronounced Minnesota towns in the state.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You'd think it'd be Edina, because it's spelled like Edina. But no,
It wasn't, huh?
no, it's Wayzata. The wet surface is a piece of Luan board, orange Luan.
It's basically plywood, right?
Yeah, it's basically a plywood, but it's a lot more even than a plywood.
Yeah,
Don't have a
it's
lot of-
smoother. It's like I think they call it I think this is actually considered an underlayment. or something.
Underlayment?
I think. Do your research because all quarter-inch plywoods are a little different. And some actually don't like the water and they'll go, whoop, and they'll curl right up like paper. So you will have to experiment a little bit. And when you go into the hardwares, you actually can find a lot of these surfaces pre-cut. So they'll have them pre-cut in the smaller sections. It costs more to buy them that way. But what I like about them is they're really, really, I can be aggressive with it, it doesn't matter.
The wet medium is best for wear.
Yeah. So when it comes to, I forgot what I was going to say. That's okay. Anyway, Wayzata.
Wayzata.
See, I still can't get it right.
It's on the shores of Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah, shores of me.
Rome, welcome. Welcome from Rome this morning.
Hi, Rome. So anyway, so the soft pastels are just really brilliant. I'm going to build this layer up. As it dries, I can do more into it. I'm just using now the white again. And sometimes I can drag my hand across to blend this as we go. It's creating some really beautiful effects. Gradients, some shading. You can do a lot of shading with this stuff. So for example, here's the black, I think. Just very strong, very, very strong pigment of black. And then I'm going to put the white down in here. Just really heavy. And then I'm going to blend it a little bit. So I can create some really interesting technique within that black area. Let's try that over here. So the other exciting thing is we started on a new movie production this month.
Yeah, we
In Duluth. So we're working with them again, like the one back in earlier this year. And by the way, that comes out in November, so stay tuned because that's going to be a lot of fun. So the movie we did earlier this year, and we did a bunch of the painting placements in there and helping them with their set. That's coming out in November. We'll tell you more about that as we can. But that was super exciting. But guess what? They're back in Duluth. So now we get to play some more with them. Great crew, great everything. We'll talk more about that, and maybe we can get the crew on air again for some painting. I really enjoyed that. And they did too, actually. So it's preliminary stages of the film and all that, right? So we're doing script stuff and figuring out what we need and where we need to be. That's really exciting. We're just thrilled to be a part of it. Jeez, look at that. I can't get over I've never really had any other soft pastels that have been this dramatic, you know, of,
The peanut butter is good.
it's really incredible. Just take my finger and gesture into it. Pretty fun, huh? That's fun. I wanted to do something relatively simple for you today and talk about this material and really kind of go in depth with the study of it because look at that. And not everybody works pastels wet. One of the reasons I like working it into the wet surface, and then you can do this on paper too, you can do this on canvas. I like the board, but I've done this on the paper too. I've got a whole stack of some Van Gogh paper that they sent me, and so I can do similar techniques on this. Let me grab one out. So we can do the same thing on this. Just wet it down. Doesn't have to be highly saturated, and you can do the same. Now in this case, we're going to pick up some, and I'm dragging my heel again, so there's some nice colors that are already on my heel. Look at that. You can do very, very similar techniques on the paper. You know what we always say? We always say, create without fear here. And now our son has started to say that whenever he picks up the paints. I wonder if he does that at the preschool too.
He might.
So just working that around. So we can do that there as well. There's some brilliant yellow, add that in there. And this is just on the paper. And there's pastel artists that are, you know, probably infinitely better than I am. But I'm a mixed media artist, and I love when I get something new to play with, and I can work it into my paintings. And we'll incorporate a little paint here, maybe. Or maybe I'll just enjoy working with this all day. You can see how quickly we can get just a really nice abstract, kind of almost landscape looking thing. All right. See some of that Kandinsky influence for me, the line qualities. A little de Kooning thrown in for good measure. Love that guy's work. And as always, Hans Hofmann, one of my favorite all time. Had a lot more influence, I think, in the abstract, expressionist, modern art movements in America than he used to give credit for. Really, I mean, I truly believe that. So you can do a quick, if you want to loosen up, this is a good way to do it. Get out your paper, your sketchbook, and just kind of do some gestural drawing. Some marks. Have some fun. I don't think we have any big exhibits coming up right now, do we?
No.
Nothing big right at the moment. We did change out some of the artwork down at Amity Coffee here in Duluth. So we have a few pieces there, which is fun. And then I did change out a few at down the street. We love having Superior Brewery down the street.
Yes.
The restaurant. We sold some pieces out of there. It's been a really, really phenomenal experience to be there. We appreciate it so much. But anyway, we changed out a little bit there. I thought this was white. This is more gray. So this is that gray white. Said we'd work with a little bit today. Just kind of layering that on. Oh, sorry. Thank you, director, producer, and technician. Yeah. And you'll see though, what's neat is it's kind of spidering in, making these little filaments of color within the structure of the pastels, and I think that's just a fascinating process. So we can do a little bit here too. Just a white paint. It's really nothing special. And we can always scrape back through that too if we can find a palette knife. Palette knife. I turned the heat up in today.
I know, it's so cold. Getting out of my jacket.
Yeah, it's pretty cold. It was 38 degrees Fahrenheit this morning. I don't know what that is on Celsius, but
Oh, good morning, Shabana, welcome.
hi. Wait, you had the show, didn't you, Shabana? Didn't you just have a big show set up or something? Or was that one of the others? Look at this. This is fun. And that white will pick up the color as it dries. It'll kind of pull some of the pigment out from the backside. So we'll check in with that a little later. Look at what's happening over here.
Does anybody else out there have a show coming up? Want to share about it?
Yeah, I really do want to know. I'm gonna add some of this yellow, this bright green down here. Oh, yeah, look at that. Just give it a little bit of aggressive color thrown in on the edge here. It dried down, it dried up down here. And you can maybe see the difference a little bit. You can hear it. You know, I don't really like that sound much. I'm going to spritz it a little so I can have a wet surface to play on still. You can see already that it's helping to spread and blend that. And that's one of the things I really appreciate with this is the blending that happens.
I just want to remind everybody, this just using water. Spray down as a wet surface.
Thank you for that reminder. It's funny. I'll work that white in there. I bought a bulk of white. You can buy bulks of the color. You don't have to buy them in the set. Although on our website we only have the sets right now. I think.
Yeah.
Did you manage to get those? No, you didn't get the white ones. Nice color variation. We're building up those layers. I like a simple piece sometimes, you know, as far as it goes with minimalism. If you can get a really nice minimalism piece, I really, really like it. I tend to want to work the surface and work the surface a little bit more. I think part of that is because I don't have a ton of money to be buying a ton of surfaces.
Yeah.
So I tend to work the surface because for me, it's still about the process. I want to keep working. And that to me is more important than a lot of times in the end results. This is just the white working through it. Down to its nubbins. I can take my hand gesture in there. And then I have a dark green here. I'm going to put some dark green down in the corner.
I want to say thank you to everybody who filled out our survey last month.
Oh, yes.
Much appreciated.
The responses were incredible, heartfelt. I read through a few of them. She's read through all of them. And we are very grateful and honored that many of you are here and have been here for quite a while, actually. And we want to thank you so much for that. Our family wants to thank you. And that will help, I think, in getting to the next layer, next level of the show.
Yes, these are software. Yeah, we want to make this show a little bigger, so we appreciate your help and effort.
An organization wanted to see the survey. I couldn't believe how expensive the survey was if we wanted to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You were astonished me. It was like $370 just to have access to more of the surveys that came in. Coffee. Okay, so pop of red somewhere maybe. Like almost like it's fall here in almost said northern Michigan.
Northern Minnesota.
Northern Minnesota is where we live now. So, and I love the maple trees when they go red and they start falling. And so I'm going to throw some red leaves around on everything.
By the way, guys, on other platforms, if you want a clear vision of what he's doing without all the chat overlay, they're also on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook video. And it's also in landscape and other places that are portrait.
Yeah, something different.
Or if you have to check out early, it's hard to find these on Instagram these days. They're kind of pushing the long stuff away. Head over to YouTube. They're all there.
Yeah, that's right. We have quite a few. Not since the very beginning, but there's actually some old stuff that makes me laugh. It's the production value was really in my earlier days before Kristen got involved. Um, let's just say I wasn't very good at it, but I had to start somewhere, and that's what I'm going to tell everybody too. That's just starting out. If you are just starting out, or even if you're not, even if you're an experienced artist and you're watching, and you're intimidated by the technology. So, thank God Kristen and I have a phenomenal relationship that we can work together and synergy there. And that's one of the reasons we're able to work on the movie set together too, because we read each other, we know what's going on. And not everybody has that. But if you are trying to do it all your own, then I would definitely say just start somewhere. Start on something. Create without fear extends to putting yourself out there too on video and film. Or if you don't want to and you're just doing this because you need a respite from the day-to-day things that are going on, then just enjoy the process. Just have fun creating, making art. I know I do. I had a couple of days off after we got back from a month of video. And I think it was a month of video. Yeah. And then I couldn't stand it. I came into the studio. It was weird having a couple of days off. I didn't tell you because I've been busy with other stuff. But I came in and I was shocked. It was like everything looked new. It just had to be away for a couple of days because it was daily practice every day. Every day. And sometimes when you're doing that, you have skills. And what I found out was that I became blind to what was happening. So having a few days, a mini vacation, a mini vacay, really made a difference, I think, on the work. And this is the first time you've been in since we got back, right?
Yeah, probably.
I don't think you've been since we got back. And so there's some stuff she hasn't even seen yet. It'll be show and tell. I love the control that I have with pastels, but I also like some of the improvisation of it when I'm working into the wet. What's very attractive to me is the blending, the softness of the soft pastels when they go onto the surface. To me, it's very exciting. It looks very good. I'm going on. I'm gushing about this, but I hadn't worked on these in years. I dried out a little. So when it's dry, you can see it tends to pick up the surface texture of whatever you're working on. And that could be something that's beneficial for you too.
I have to say this station isn't terrible.
That looks like the dark skies the other day when we had the first snow. We had first snow.
That reminds me, I was so annoyed.
I kind of enjoyed it. But
It is October
I know.
7th. There is no excuse. I died for you. It's going to be snowy on October 7th. And I hope it's going to last up. It's not Saskatchewan.
She has apparently some strong feeling about snow right now. I'm in trouble because I said I liked it in front of her.
Yeah.
I will say my morning walks have been put on hold at the moment because it's been too cold. I got to find my long underwear and stuff to get out there again.
My old age, I'm a crazy cat. It's getting somewhere warm.
Yeah, we've talked about it. No alligators?
No alligators, but warm.
Clearly, she's talking about when I'm gone. That's suddenly been made clear to me. Oh man, funny sometimes.
I don't know. I get a shed where I keep the cats. You don't know.
Small a mile away. And don't get me wrong, I've had many a cat in my younger days. But my goal lately has been no more pets for a while we get all of our stuff together. It's hard enough, honestly, with a 5-year-old.
Almost.
He's close enough. Where's Robert?
Oh my God, I had to increase, I had to go up another click on the seat
On the
today,
seat?
on the car seat. I went one up 2 weeks ago, which means he's growing 2 clicks in 3 weeks.
Going 2 clicks. I should have thinned this out before. So the gesso is a little thick to use it in the way that I want to, which is more of a kind of a calligraphy or an ink. It's a little heavier than an ink. I like working with the Amsterdam acrylic inks a lot, but they're a little thin for what I like to use them for on the bigger paintings. So I'll take the black gesso and I'll thin it out with a little water. You still have enough adhesion. I'm not worried about adhesion with it. And then that way I can do some nice gestural stuff with the black. I'll just show you on this over here.
Oh, thank you for buying the pastels.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love it. Let me know what you think. So that's gonna do some interesting things there.
Thank you, Mary Cooper. Truly appreciate it. Help us keep going.
Yeah, our wonderful people at Royal Talons love to see that kind of stuff because that tells them that what we're doing is making a difference.
And then when you use them, tag us with the
Yes.
stuff here so we
Yes.
can see what you made with them.
Or just even send it, DM it too.
Yeah.
DM it to me too. And sometimes we share those, sometimes we don't. It depends.
Present if you want us to.
And it also depends on how busy we are. We can get buried with stuff to do very easily. It's a scramble. It's a mad scramble. We're with you, everybody out there. Hey, we're trying to make a living like everyone else. We're trying to pay the bills right now amongst high prices. And so we're living this stuff along with you guys. That's why I think it's important to communicate as a community, as artists. It's one of the reasons we still do what we're doing here with you all. It's just, we just love to communicate, talk to you guys, and learn what you're up to.
This is show number 93, by the way.
Is it really? Show number 93. Now this particular soft pastel I'm using, for whatever reason, the ones that I bought in bulk are a little harder, and they don't squish out. It's a technical term. Very technical term, squish out. So they tend to be a little more firm when doing the work, and I guess that's okay. I'm not sure. So when you do order, make sure that you're getting the ones that you want and experiment with them. This goes for all art supplies. You know, you need to work with them. You need to learn their limits. You need to learn your limits.
Cemetery Manzana, that is a fabulous icon. They got the banana with the duct tape. Love it.
Banana. Now, of course, the things, all things Minions is suddenly in my head. So this is drying out quite a bit at the moment. So I might spritz here and there as it works. Keep that in front of you. There's the reference. Ding, 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 ding. Anybody know what that was? Nazi suit? What was that from? You get absolutely no prize for knowing what film or television show that was from. But it's just a fun. We should do that maybe more often. You know, it's like a little Easter egg or a little kind of not competition, but you know, it's like whose line is it anyway? One of those things. Where the points don't matter.
It goes on TikTok. Many of you watch Janet Kirkland. You'd be kind of like that. I love that little story.
Stuff I haven't seen there is quite a bit. Also, I started almost a building reference over here. And I will say my style, I think, is very similar when I'm working from material to material. I think you can identify it. That being said, the soft pastels have kind of unlocked some things for me and made for some very interesting processes. that I'm still learning. So I love that fact.
I apologize, Erica, I can't read that. If somebody can translate. It's not too many people that do this.
Ooh, that's that reddish brown. I like this color, so I want to wear this.
Oh, welcome. Yeah,
Oh, hi there.
yeah, thank you for sharing.
This is that brown. I love this color.
Actually, have a lot of the branding that do this.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Always. This is a safe place for art, guys. Everybody is welcome. We want to hear about what you're doing, what your exhibits are, and definitely
Even though you're weak.
how your week was. How was your week? Oh, it broke.
Ah, and
Pastel down. So the interesting thing, of course, with this is if it messes up, if you mess up with pastels, you can go back in and you can take it back off with the water. Not all of it, but enough that you can start again. And then you can also use some white, seal it up and then throw some white gesso over it, and you have your surface back. Or you seal the surface and you can do layers on top of it. So I use Degas fixative. It's in a spray pump bottle, and this is from Spectrafix. And we love these guys because it's a lot of the other sprays and fixatives are aerosol based, and they are often mineral spirit type things, so they're not really healthy for you to have. I still like to do this outdoors. And then my final fix, which is a finished coat, I put on this after I do a few coats of this. Spray lightly. Spring for the more expensive bottle. You'll thank me later. So first test your abilities to put it on a piece you don't really care about. And you should do this with a lot of materials. The fact of the matter is, if you do this too heavy, it can blur it right out, particularly watercolors.
Yeah.
I know this is getting complicated, but I'm just fine.
I think you found one has.
It's almost an impressionist kind of approach here. That I don't really mean for it to happen that way today, but here it is. Remember that big tree we saw down at the beach the other day when we were on the beach class?
Yeah.
That was cool. Big giant tree fell down. And you looked at it, all the arms shooting out on a radial, like the spokes of a car, or an old wheel, bike wheel. It's really, really neat. Pictures of it. And you don't realize how much your surroundings will affect your creations until you start taking pictures of things, and then you go back and look at pictures and you compare them next to your paintings. I don't paint from the photos, but what I see through the camera lens, that extra step of taking the picture, I then put it in my little tiny brain for later use, and then I'm able to bring that out in the paintings. And I'm always surprised at how many actually show up from that experience. This is the soft one, so I'll get this up here. A little more light to the top. It's still not quite as much as I wanted. So what I might do if I wanted to layer this up at this point is actually go and wait for this to dry, seal it, and then put more layers on. We're not going to do that today because we don't have time. So we're just going to kind of play a little more with this. And then, as I said, you can actually scrape away some of this stuff too. Let me grab a scraper. Handy palette knife. If you don't like an area, you can always scrape it off. And it might create something a little more interesting. Now I can use this and just draw into the surface. Strong lines. I can take this black and I can scrape it right out if I need to. And I can also go back in and gesture with that black paint. We're creating a little more depth, a sense of structure. You know, telephone poles is mostly power lines, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, you see that, and it's often in front of a view. And that definitely is one of those influences for me when I'm doing my pieces. Is that the structure that's there is everywhere. So it's like stalactites on this part. Oh, I like that. Happy little tree over here. Oh, there's no trees in here. Actually, everything is a tree. So our friend Sue Pastels, another artist here in the Duluth, Minnesota area. She had a show up in, where was that? It'll come to me in a minute. Yes. Painting flash.
Yeah.
Yeah. It did. We didn't make it, and I'm sorry, Sue, if you're watching. We love you. She was on the show a little while ago too, so if you know Sue and you want to watch that show, you can go into our archives and see that show. But my point being, what was my point? Oh, well, we didn't go anywhere last time because we had a meeting with part of the crew for the new film. And so that was work, and we had to work because the film crew comes to town, they have a schedule, and we have to kind of bend into the schedule.
Thank you for seeing me through this.
So gesturing through, so you can scrape through this. It's still kind of wet. I'm able to scrape through the surface and do other things with it. And you can kind of see the soft pastels built up on top of this. Sometimes what I'll do, and this is one of the reasons I keep some spare paper around, is I get a lot of small works, even though I don't list these on the website anymore. But you can pull that, use your spare paint, and you can actually do some starts, new paintings. And even there's paint down here on this, over here. I don't like to waste that, so I may go back in and work this piece later as a starting point. This is a good starting point. You can also do some model prints off of the other one. So if this is really wet, I can actually take and model print off of this. Get some of those colors to transfer over. That black is going to spread a lot. We get that kind of thing there. Now we can actually, using this, we can scrape into that. Give that painting some depth. Physical. Get some nice gradients created there. So this is another start. You know, it's another place I can go at a certain point. I can create some more. I'm not liking the black paint that I put on there before, so I'm going to kind of work that, create some hard edges with it. I didn't like the way that it fuzzed into the other surfaces, so I'm going to play with that a little and see if I can't get that to be a little more in a direction that I like. I like that better already. Yeah, now because of the contrast with the white in the background, the black in the foreground, we've got some sense of depth, right? And I like that much better now than I did.
I have a question.
Yeah.
About fixing it. So let's talk about septic fixing.
Okay. Sure.
And we have to store these in a temperature control situation.
Say that again.
Once it's finished and fixed, we have this stored in a temperature control.
The standard answer is going to be yes, always store your artwork in a temperature, humidity controlled environment. That being said, my mom kept her paintings in the attic for 30 years. That was not temperature controlled. They survived. albeit a little bit beat up. So that's an extreme. Don't keep it in the attic at 180 degrees in the summertime and dry and then cold freezing at night. We try to keep the artwork in here and not just this. And the pastels actually are very stable, especially if you have it on the wood, they're not going to do much. But even on the paper, it's acid-free paper. It's made for watercolors or drawing type of situations. And this stuff, especially when it's fixed, at least with the workable fixative. Even better if you can do the final fix. But if you're not done, at least fix it with the fixative, the workable fixative. In this case, it's the Degas fixative from Spectrafix. When you do that, you can pile them up. You can store them in the drawers. You can store them very, very easily, and it's not gonna damage them. It's not gonna be a problem. And if you're very prolific like I am, and you have literally thousands of these things on paper, different drawings at different levels of finish. This whole pile underneath here, this is all piled with works in progress too. And occasionally I have to excavate. And it becomes an archaeological experiment underneath this table. But then we got the bins on the other side, and we have tours of we haven't done a tour of the studio. We'll do that.
Spectrafix. You hold it up so nobody can see that problem.
Hello. Get it off there. It's a little beat up, so. I'll take this moment to have a drink.
Favorite. And then they have some final fix that you can use after.
On this one. I wonder if it's a big bottle. You can buy it in bulk. Here you go. This is better. There. Do it that way.
Not good for yourself.
Oh, you saw it.
Can you take it
So
right now?
I buy the bulk and then I refill this. The one bottle doesn't go very far because it has special little bladders inside of it that help give it a continuous spraying process. You'll see what I mean when you get them. We don't carry this on the website yet. We're talking about it, but you can get it directly from them. Just tell them in a note that we sent you.
Yeah.
You don't get anything
It's
for
a
it.
very small little company, very nice people.
Yeah, they're great. I love those guys.
One buy it straight from them and help us your big box.
Yeah, it's always good to support the small entrepreneur. We were just talking about that here locally. Okay, now I'm going to find my white chalk and see if I can do much with this little fine chalk. Oh yeah, we can do some marking. When you're making marks, be bold, be decisive, don't be tentative. It'll show when you're tentative. Kind of like our philosophy, Kristen, think it, do it. Mark it. Just highlighting some areas, trying to create a little more shadow and depth in areas, but also some structure so that we can have a little bit of directional quality. So I'm going to lead you through this painting with my lines and my color and my directional indicators like this coming through here. I'm having a lot of fun with this. Getting some little squares up here, almost like windows. The window theme has been around for 3 years, 4 years now. 3 years, I guess now, huh?
Yeah.
People looking out the windows. Then I can take my pencil. Where's my pencil? It's a 1B. I want the 8. Where did you hide that on?
I didn't touch them. I will admit,
Oh, there
I
it
get
is.
my feet and quickly destroying every Lego creation on the floor.
She destroyed 2 spaceships today.
I'm sorry. In my defense, it's taken over half the house.
Hugo and I have been very busy lately with the spaceship building, and we have a whole space station, and then we have ships that we built, and so anyway, they've oozed into the dining room area. I apologize to my wife, but you know what? Hugo and I are adding some details. I don't care if I'm smudging here, but if you do care about that, you get yourself a pole or something to rest your hand on so you're not smudging things. Just adding tiny detail in there. when you're looking at my paintings or drawings, I want you to get lost in the environment. I'd like to be able to look at something for years and go, wait a minute, I haven't seen that before. Because your experiences change. And every time you look at a painting, you become part of that painting. You become an audience member of that painting. And now you are participating in creating an artwork, even as an audience. Because you look at it and you go, hey, my experiences are different. And then you're going to look at that piece a different way, and you're going to see something new. I'm still seeing new things in my mom's paintings. I have a couple of her still, thankfully, but not all have been destroyed or gone, disappearing into the nether. So the pencil work is usually one of those things. We get questions on how do you finish the work? Is the work done by the time the show is done? No, it's not. I spend hours and hours and hours staring at a piece, and then I'll jump up and go, I got it, and I'll make one mark, and then go sit down in my mom's rocking chair again and stare at it for a long time again, and then jump up. I've said this before in other interviews we've done, is I sneak up. You got to kind of like sneak up on that artwork, and then you'll kind of be able to finish it off. The surface is still really moist, which is nice because it's allowing the Brunzel pencils to engage more with the surface and create so it's the same thing. If it's a wet surface, then the pencils. This is another reason why I like working on the board, because if I do this on wet paper, it tends to tear the paper. But the moisture in the board helps you transfer the lead. It's not really lead, I guess it's graphite, or in some cases you're working charcoal pencils. And it helps to transfer that to the surface here. So did anybody finish a piece of artwork this week they're thrilled about? Let me hear it. Some leaves here. What's our time like, my wife?
We're at about 48 minutes.
Really?
This is actually a kind of finished plywood, and yeah, you can use plywood.
Yeah, try and get something very smooth. Or you work with texture. Hey, remember when I was doing those pieces with the chipboard?
So heavy.
They were heavy, but you can get it thinner too. You can get 1/4-inch chipboard. You can also get the cedar board, like the lines inside of cabinetries and stuff. But it's like, so it's actually OSB, oriented strand board is what technical. So it's got all these chunks of. They make great texture to work with. Just love working the texture with that. So going in, I'm making some details. I don't even know how many people have made it this far, but this is part of the process for finishing now. Highlighting areas that I want to highlight, drawing attention to things, and creating more details. Sometimes I will draw in little cities or words or graffiti or something within the context of the structure. Context is everything. I'm a little silly today. It's been a wild ride this summer.
Yeah, I'm a mess.
Yeah, Kristen's not feeling well. Send some healing thoughts. You have to go into work today. The other jobs that we've taken on. This isn't a little wet to pick it up to show
No, the
you.
artwork behind that is mostly acrylic.
Yeah, it is. However,
We just decided to use soft pastels.
I can show you a big piece that's kind of finished. I can go grab that. Would anyone like to see one of the bigger ones that I kind of finished recently on pastels?
I just do have it.
Okay. You can keep them entertained for half a moment while I run away. Be right back. Long run over to the other side. The long one. I get on the other side of it. Try not to get This has been fixed. So this is a big long piece. It's 8 feet long. It's kind of, for the ones in the fixed camera over there, I'll do it this way. Like walking up the stairs. Told you I was silly today. So this is a bigger piece. This is a finished work. It's been fixed and final fixed. So that the guy fixed it I put on it, and then I did the Spectre fix, final fix over the top to give it a nice sheen. It has a really lovely, luscious, fuzzy kind of a look to it. I will post pictures of this one when it's done. It's still wet in some areas, and it's if I pick it up, the really, really cool kind of icicle look that it has here would be destroyed. So I don't want to move this. We maybe can show you a zoom in or something, but I don't know. There's a finished piece. Back over here, I'll cover back. So anyway, I hope you had fun today. I had fun today. This was great to show you one of my favorite little extra things. I travel with a small kit. I've got a little box like this. I have 2 little boxes, and I have soft pastels in this little box. And I take this with me with my sketchbooks when we travel, and that's a nice, easy way to feed my creative addiction. And so I would encourage you to experiment with these. They're a lot of fun. They're not that expensive. You can see you can get a pretty big with very little usage. You can see I have quite a few left.
You can find us on our website.
Yes, and you can find them on the website. Anyway, everyone, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun here with you today. And if you're watching the recorded version, please comment and let us know what you think, and tell us when you do get to play with them, or if you're already working with pastels, I'd love to see some of those too. So everybody, have good days. Be well. Take care of yourselves. This has been David Austin with DavidAustinGallery.com. Thanks for coming to the show. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.